So a couple episodes back, I did give some of the chef testants a little bit of a hard time for maybe not entirely grasping the deep philosophical underpinnings of duality as it related to the dishes they were cooking at Taliesin. And if that sounds ridiculous, I mean, it is a reality cooking competition. It's not a master's thesis. Okay, that's fine. But ultimately, they are on a show that they know is going to throw some weird challenges at them, and they got to be ready for that. So that's kind of on them. This week's elimination challenge was the single worst concept, writing, explanation of any elimination challenge I think I have ever witnessed on Top Chef. Hello, my name is Kyle Nabilsi. I am a restaurant and food writer here in Madison, Wisconsin, and I'm thrilled to once again be presenting to you this week in Top Chef Wisconsin. And we're already out of Madison. What the hell? Like Madison, we got plenty more to offer. You're just going to have to show up and check it out for yourself. In the meantime, the show is back in Milwaukee. Okay, fine. The chefs get to meet Sue, and so do some of the viewers. You got to remember, not everybody gets to watch Last Chance Kitchen like you and I do. It's on Peacock. So when Kalina comes in and everyone's happy, and then Sue comes in and the show immediately goes into recap mode, it's because some people don't know who he is either. Dan knew who he was. Our boy Dan, but most everybody else was the very cute line, "Who's that nice man helping Kalina with her bags?" That was funny. I like that. That was good. Whatever I may say about this episode later, the quickfire was tremendous. Perfect combination of season location, challenge content, guest judge. Everything about it was great. Christina Tosi of Milk Bar comes in from New York and says, "You got to make a dairy-based dessert." Perfect. It's Wisconsin. It's Christina Tosi, cereal milk lady. You know, like everything about it is great. I love it. You got some really wackadoo combinations. You got some real snoozers. It was a very lively quickfire. Sue's putting flavors together. Like he's rattling stuff off that I don't know how he's going to have time to put together in a quickfire. What happened to Kevin, Mr. Dessert? Just like sleepwalked his way through this challenge. Meanwhile, Amanda cranks out a fever dream of a dessert, a cheddar stuffed biscuit bananas Foster. I don't even know how that all fits together. Like apple pie and cheddar cheese, no one did that. I could have seen Dan cranking something like that out. He didn't. His dessert did not do particularly well. He turned a vegan dessert into a non-vegan dessert. Didn't go great. Him and Danny were at the bottom, along with Manny and some awful-looking churros. What happened, my guy? Like, he's been leaning so hard on Mexican culinary tradition and foodways, and then turns out these brown toothpaste look like, most charitably, they looked like palmiers. But these were churros in name only. And he was at the bottom as well. At the top, along with Amanda, was Michelle with a great, of-the-moment, very summery dessert, much more traditional than Amanda's. Corn and strawberries and basil and lemon, like it just sounded great. Kalina comes in strong. She's up at the top. But Michelle takes the quickfire. Very exciting. Does another dessert. Does it well. She's on a dessert roll. And then we move on to the elimination challenge. And Matty Matheson comes charging out of the back. And so Matty Matheson, he's an internet personality, chef. He's on The Bear. And the thing about watching Matty Matheson on The Bear is that you can kind of tell yourself this is a character. And then you see him on Top Chef, and you realize it's not really a character. He is kind of just playing himself. And he strings together a whole bunch of words that I think were all English. I don't know what they were trying to communicate other than the challenge is do something crazy. That's it. Like, you could have said, all right, here are a series of culinary conventions. Pick one and break it. Serve red meat with white wine. Put dairy on fish. You just needed some writers. Some intelligent writers who knew food traditions and knew rules of the kitchen and could come up with 11 of them. This rando chaos cuisine challenge, nobody got it. Nobody got it. Maybe Amanda sort of did, and other people sort of got what she was saying. But no, nobody got this challenge. This is the "It's Not Just You" segment. And no, it is not just you. It seemed this entire episode like there was another shoe going to drop. Like they were going to come in on the second day and have to cook somebody else's dish or something. Some kind of bag swap challenge, something like that. That would have been chaos. Instead, you just had 11 people going like, what are we doing here exactly? And it showed. And if it seems like I am invested in this competition having gone a little differently, stay tuned. I apologize, but stay tuned. So the chefs get to shop not at Whole Foods and not at the Madison Farmers Market because they're in Milwaukee, but they do get to shop at some cool, smaller markets in the Milwaukee area. They get to hit Moe's Food Market, which is sort of a pan-Asian food market, Adam African market, and El Rey, a Latin market. Very cool. Most of the chefs go for the Asian route. A couple go for the African market, a couple go for the Latin market. Sue is comically in the weeds throughout most of this. Like, you wonder if he's just like flash bulbs going off in his eyes. He's redefining his dish constantly. And that actually is a great time for our How's Dan Doing segment, where we check in on the lone Wisconsin chef testant, Dan Jacobs of Dan and Esther Ev in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. How's Dan doing? Blissfully ignorant / in the zone. He gets asked about how his immunity is treating him. And his line is, I kind of forgot about it. So now it feels great. It's a great place to be. Going balls out and then realizing, oh yeah, I can kind of just let off the gas just a little bit. He is doing some crazy, again, just some wild combination in this episode. Funnel cake okonomiyaki. Like a Japanese seafood pancake on funnel cake. Crazy. General Sue's chicken is great. Turns into General Sue's shrimp, but Sue decides he's going to do a General Sue's sort of thing. That's very funny to me. I like that. Rassica is doing something crazy with crab and eggplant. Tom and Matty come in to the kitchen and they are not sold on how the chefs are grabbing the whole concept of chaos cuisine, but are willing to let them, trust fall their way through it. Maybe it's you. Maybe it's you guys. Maybe you should have thought this out a little differently. I'm still waiting for another shoe to drop in this. It's very strange. Some weird filmmaking too, with Danny's little meditation moment. It was kind of wild. So the elimination challenge dishes come out, and a lot of them are either, hey, this is a fine dish, but it's not really particularly chaotic, or this dish is way too precise for a chaos challenge, or chaos, like beautiful chaos. And then some turn out to just kind of be garbage. Some safe dishes. There were not a lot of peaks and a couple of valleys. And ultimately at the bottom is Michelle and Rassica. And Rassica goes home. She goes Last Chance Kitchen. It's crazy. Like, I'm blown away. Like I said, it was hers to lose. And guess what? She lost it. At the top, however, Sue, Danny, Dan, and Savannah. Wild. What's happening there? And I would have been stunned if they gave Dan a win with immunity. They do not. It goes to Danny, who does a very precise, very pretty, artistic-looking thing. But Tom has a really great duck floating on the surface of the water analogy. Calm from the water up, crazy from the water down. Okay, I get it. That's fine. That works. But I really thought for a second they were going to kick two people out because they said a double elimination is on the table sometime before the end of the season. And guess what? The way the math is working out, it's going to be next week. There's going to be two chefs going next week. Write it down. Here are the odds, updated with the stunning departure of Rassica, who did in fact find a way to lose. At 30-1, Kevin. He is dead man walking. 22-1, Laura, who had another villain moment hiding the dark chocolate from our boy Dan earlier this episode. 19-1, Savannah. I'm still not sold. She did have a nice appearance in this episode, but I'm still not sold. 17-1, Amanda. 10-1, Kalina. She's coming in with a fire in her belly. Tied with Manny, also at 10-1, who I don't know, man. He's flailing. Dan moving up a little bit more, 7-1. I just ate at Esther Evan. It was great. 5-1, Michelle, falling a little bit. And then Danny and Sue, a couple of risk takers, living at the top at 4-1. And that is the end, with the exception of our peak Wisconsin moment, which comes from Savannah, who passive-aggressived her way into some real motivation with some weird personal history with Matty Matheson. I can't even get into it. Pickled mustard greens. Bah!